to get our bags, and then we need to grab a taxi to go to the docks. So, what are we doing here? So we're currently in in a pier, and we're waiting for another group of people. I think it's another couple. They were flying on a plane that departed an hour later. So we just need to wait for them to get to the pier, and they actually staying in a different hotel. So we are staying in the Napo Cultural Center hotel, and they are staying in Napo Wildlife Center. So they belong to the same indigenous community, but they are kind of a bit far away from each other. One is like in the heart of community, the cultural center. Another one is more like deep into the jungle. It has a bit, I guess, more wildlife in a sense. The other one, the Wildlife Center, was actually almost three times more expensive. I think I remember it being around $1,800 to $1,000 per person, while ours we bought with a discount, and it was something like $680 per person. So yes, it's much cheaper. And the more expensive one is actually full, while we are likely to be the only guests in the cheaper lodge, which is alright. I guess gonna be almost a private experience, and it's going to be a around 2 hour ride in a motorized canoe. Really excited. It's actually quite hot here, so it's currently 30 degrees Celsius. Luckily it's not too hot because we're sitting on a pier, there's wind, but I can imagine it's gonna get quite hot soon.
I think nobody for
So this is a toilet. As I said, it looks really good. The bed is a bit messy at the moment because when we arrived it was just too hot. And now let's just walk around. They told us that on the territory of the hotel we can wear like whatever. It's really hot, but on the excursions that lead towards the kind of deep jungle, we definitely need long shirts and trousers. Our first activity of the day was scheduled for around 4 p.m. So we had a bit of time to walk around the territory of the hotel, of the lodge, and explore what's around us. It's almost 4 p.m. and we are actually going on a tour. I feel like I'm just gonna roast in this anti-mosquito shirt.
this, and you can also take a picture.
All the tricks, man.
This is the three-toed sloth. Why we have this?
Yeah.
What is? Look at this.
Wow, this is so beautiful. Oh my god.
This is many banded alasadi.
Oh, there's bugs inside the tree. Like the one we ate. Doesn't need wood.
Blue and yellow macaw.
Wow. Such a color.
Blue and yellow macaws, they're like in pairs.
It's a family.
This is the family. Hey, good.
Honestly, the views from that tower were spectacular, and it was so nice. It was so close to the lodge. We only walked for about 15 minutes, and then took probably 10 minutes just walking up the tower because it's quite a tough climb when it's really hot outside. But the views are stunning, and we managed to see so many birds. Actually, since we departed at 5 p.m. is an hour of a birds. Basically, the birds are trying to find something to eat before it gets dark. It gets dark at around 6 to 6:15 p.m. So yeah, it's a really, really good time to spot birds, especially given that it wasn't raining before that, so there were quite a few birds. At around 6 p.m., most of them have disappeared, so it got a bit quieter, but the views were breathtaking. At 7, we had our dinner. It was a proper 3-course meal, and we mostly ate some international dishes that were prepared for us by the chef. And later saw even a tiny tarantula in the kitchen before going to sleep. Good morning. I am really, really shiny. That's because we don't have air conditioning in the room, and you have to sleep when the humidity is 100% and the temperature is around 25 degrees Celsius. It's actually pouring right now, so I don't know how it will influence our kind of itinerary of the day. But right now we are supposed to go to a breakfast, and after that we are visiting the women and a crafts market. Let's go ahead and try not to get wet.
Eso sí.
Yo he visto que con una liana a
También
veces
lo
como
hacen
que...
de diferentes maneras. Ya, esto está caliente, ¿no? Entonces, solo tienen que tomar su... ¿Ya? Ahí está. Ya lo tienes.
Bueno, ese.
Muy bien.
Yeah.
It was really lovely. The women of the community really told us a bit more about the history and traditions, and then we had the chance to visit the souvenir shop where you can buy some crafts made by the local women and also leave some tips for the performers. Next thing on our itinerary was visiting the clay lakes. So the second clay lakes are located just 15 minutes away by the motorized canoe, and then a short walk for about 10 minutes. We were really hoping we would see some, despite the fact that it was raining a lot in the morning. But unfortunately we didn't see any. We waited there for about an hour and a half, but saw a lot of monkeys instead. So it wasn't a completely useless trip. To be fair, nothing is actually useless in the jungle because everything looks very, very beautiful, and it's just nice to walk around. Then we had a quick lunch and again some hours of rest. There is usually a break until 4 p.m. so the second tour starts at 4. So we just had a bit of rest for about 3 hours. Actually, on most of the days here you'll be resting from around 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. or 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. basically after lunch, just because it's really, really hot outside and everybody's hiding. People are hiding, animals are hiding, birds are hiding, only the butterflies and insects aren't hiding. But basically it's really, really hot. A lot of people cannot endure the heat, including myself. The guide also needs some rest. So yeah, it's basically some sort of siesta here, and you'll have a bit of free time for yourself. I was editing a video right now, and now it's almost the time to go to the reception for our afternoon activity, and perhaps we also might be able to do a night activity today. It's nice weather, it's not raining anymore, it's pretty pretty hot. Also, one thing I wanted to mention, there is so much food here, like you'll be eating a lot, and we actually asked our guide, and especially the chef, to give us less food for dinner, because we've got 2 courses for breakfast, 3 courses for lunch, and 3 courses for dinner. And on top of that, some bread and some juices. So it's a lot of calories, and you actually are not moving that much here, even though you are waking up early, you are hiking, but the hikes are short, and it's mostly, you know, you are mostly transported everywhere by a canoe. Obviously the food is amazing here, it's really, really delicious, but I just don't want to eat so much, so we asked to give us half the size, half portions basically for dinner. Especially because after dinner it's not possible to walk around and, you know, kind of like shake that off and you know, spend some calories at all. There's nowhere to walk, it's not allowed to venture alone in the jungle. The tour we had at 4 p.m. actually was conducted again near the hotel along the river, where most of the local people of the community live, and surprisingly there is so much wildlife there. We've seen so many birds. Up there. Up.
Why it's moving like?
Makes a woo.
Yeah, look at this. This is the crescent.
Very good stuff. They all live here in this place.
Yeah, this is chestnut eared arasat. Arasari tukan. I got it.
Yes, it's like, I didn't know it grows there. Like eating an apple. Wow.
Still don't see it, man.
Okay.
And at night we had a night tour of the jungle. It started following the same route we took in the afternoon, but then we took a small turn to the right and went through the proper jungle. Not for long though, so the total tour lasted for about an hour and a half, but I think it was more than enough, because in the beginning we were really scared, because we had no idea what to expect and what kind of animals might jump at us or get scared if they see us and attack us. So we had literally no idea. We were actually attacked in the end. I was attacked by a fruit bat that was sitting above us somewhere in the trees, and it got really scared, and it dropped a fruit it was eating at me. It was so unexpected, because I just sensed something really heavy falling and hitting my arm, and I just couldn't understand what it is. And then our guide was like, oh look, it's a bat. So we saw some shape flying away. So yeah, basically a bat bombarded me with a fruit, and I got a small bruise after that, which was funny, and it was definitely an experience to remember. Apart from that, we saw a massive sleeping bird that was sleeping on a branch and wasn't disturbed by our flashlight. It was like a massive wild guan, similar to a turkey, and we saw so many different insects. And also this strange mushroom, which looked a bit odd.
Definitely a bird person. And this is...
Good morning, guys. Today we woke up really early, around 5:40 a.m. By 6 we were already breakfasting, but our breakfast took a bit longer because it was pouring outside. And when it's pouring, it's really hard to see anything except for insects. And we want to see the parrots today. Parrots, parakeets and other animals coming to the clay licks to eat, to lick some clay and get some really useful minerals so they can digest some fruits. Some of them might be a bit poisonous, so these minerals help them with, digestion. So we are currently heading to the canoe, wish us luck. Hopefully it won't rain and it won't scare the birds away.
Ah, no, everything came like this way. When we arrived.
Why? If it's raining so much?
Yeah, but the rain, when it's raining.
But well, unfortunately, it started raining pretty soon after we left the hotel.
In this part, there's 4 species of piranhas. Yeah.
After waiting for about 40 minutes in the waiting area of the Napo Wildlife Center, we decided to venture out, hoping it wouldn't rain that much. But unfortunately, as you will see later, it started raining a lot. So basically, this is the Blackwater Creek, and it's not allowed to use motorized canoes there. So you will always have your driver and your guide helping out the driver. It takes about 2 hours by the canoe to get to the Wildlife Center Lodge. So again, we were super happy we ended up staying in the cultural center, because we wouldn't endure basically going in this weather for 2 hours back and forth every day. Because our guide said that most of the attractions are actually closer to our hotel, to the Napo Cultural Center. But when it doesn't rain, this ride is really impressive, because it has super different birds and fishes compared to other parts of the Napo River. It was raining so much that despite having the rain ponchos, we got soaked. And it wasn't that hot on this day, unfortunately. So basically, as you would have seen from the previous clips, it's been raining cats and dogs. It's been really pouring, so we didn't really enjoy the ride. We had to arrive to the room around 11 and just basically do nothing, go to have lunch, again do nothing because it was pouring, and it finally stopped raining around 3:30 p.m. It's currently 3:50. We're meeting our guide in about 5 minutes, and hopefully it won't rain, so we would be able to actually do something on our last day in the jungle. So let's go ahead and find out what has our guide prepared for us. What are we gonna do this evening? Let's go.
¿Te has caído de la balsa?
Todavía no.
No.
Una vez se cayó las cosas.
And well, we were back in the canoe, this time only for 20 minutes, and it didn't rain, which was really nice. And our guide told us that we are heading to another observation tower. On the way to the tower, we saw monkeys again. We were so lucky with the monkeys on this trip. So there were some guests from another hotel that came to our hotel, to our lodge, just to see the monkeys, because they were really interested in them, and they haven't seen many, and they've seen all the types of monkeys that there are in the jungle in this short period of just 3 days. So we were lucky seeing them all the time. So to get to the observation deck, we had to be in the canoe for 20 minutes and then hike for about 10-15 minutes. It was uphill, so it was a bit challenging because it was very humid. But again, it's just me. I'm not very good with hot weather, as you might have noticed. But the climb this time wasn't so tough, and the views were absolutely stunning. The jungle was wet, and it was emitting some sort of condensation, I'm not sure. So the water was evaporating, and you would see some little clouds coming out from the middle of a jungle. So this observation deck is a bit similar to the one we visited on our first day in the jungle.
Are there any aggressive ones?
So that strange noise were the howler monkeys, and if you can look closely, you will be able to see them, basically if you scroll back to the previous videos. since it was raining previously and was raining really heavily for so long, there weren't many birds. Actually, they got out since it started raining after 3:30. They ate and they were not interested in eating at 5 p.m. again. So we haven't seen pretty much any birds this time, only a couple of parakeets and a couple of macaws and some really, really small birds next to us. But I don't regret coming here because the views were beautiful and they were some of the best views we've seen during the entire trip, because the sunset views are the most beautiful ones. And we timed it correctly, so we would be in the motorized canoe at the time of sunset. So basically we saw the sunset from the canoe and it was magical. This was our last dinner at the lodge, and since more people arrived, so we were about 9 people in the lodge right now, we got to try some traditional Amazonian food of Ecuador. Next morning, we had to wake up at 5 a.m. to depart, not as early as the guests from the wildlife center, but still a bit early for us. It was quite a chilly ride, so make sure to bring some warm clothes with you. And to summarize, I must say it was an amazing experience. We really enjoyed Napo Cultural Center and would definitely recommend it to you. And in case you have any questions, please make sure to write them in the comments below and I'll try to answer. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you liked it and see you guys in the next videos.